Hey everyone, I hope you've had a great day so far and that you're doing well. For this video, we'll be going through a unboxing and review of Deluxe class Terran Twitch. And Twitch is out of the Transformers Earthspark series, which premiered sometime this year. And this particular figure of Twitch is part of the Build-A-Figure subline, which will have all the parts to put together Dr. Meridian, aka Mandroid. So we started with Deluxe class Megatron, going into Twitch now, and then I'll wrap up with Bumblebee, and then after that move into other Transformer content while I basically wait and see for more of these Build-A-Figure Deluxe classes to be released. Front of the packaging for Twitch, pretty much the standard packaging standard these days. So we have a nice image of Twitch, the Build-A-Figure component, which will be part number 3, and Twitch inside. Back of the box, another shot of Twitch, Twitch's alt mode, which seems to be some type of hovercraft type mode, 12 steps of conversion, and then the Build-A-Figure range that we have seen before. Now, in theory, Prime and Shockwave should have been released by now, but I don't know. Australia is weird that way. Okay, box side of things done. Time to get Twitch out and have a better look. And with Twitch out of the packaging, what do we have? So, manual, Twitch, as to be expected. We do have a weapon component for Twitch as well, and 2 components of Dr. Meridian. Well, at least one. This one is interesting, unless it's something to attach to his back. But we'll come back to that in a moment. As the weapon, as Twitch. Manual. So we do have a quick step on how to attach the weapon into Twitch's hand. Pretty self-explanatory. And then going through the transformation, first 9 steps are here. Looks like it should be fairly intuitive. Bit of tabbing as well by the looks of things. And then if we flip things around, the final few steps of the transformation, and the weapon will also be attachable, which is good. And then we also have information about the Build-A-Figure parts. So yes, there will be a head, and it looks like the thing that I was looking at actually should be the other way around. But it does look like it will attach to his back, and then give him some extra appendages by the looks of it. So that was the manual for Twitch. Definitely nice and easy. Before we get too carried away, so the main component, so we have Dr. Meridian's head, sporting some very interesting goggles there. Now, I'm not too convinced about how well this joint is going to do once he actually is attached to his body. He definitely does have a ball socket there, so he should have some rotation within that socket, hopefully. I was hoping for a bit of lefting and righting, but maybe not. But either way, that is Meridian's head. And then the other thing, which I now know was upside down, it's probably some type of let's not try that again. Extra arms. I know what I was going to say, but I'm not going to try it again just in case. Does look pretty cool. Now these little arms in here, they don't fall out completely, but they're definitely detachable. But that is pretty cool. And these actual arms are even on ball sockets as well, so they actually do have an array of motion, which is pretty cool. Definitely interested to see how this Build-A-Figure will go when I have all the pieces, on the assumption I ever get all the pieces. Now, Twitch's main weapon, just a nice little, well, can't tell what type of weapon it is, but that's what it is. It's pretty much red plastic with a bit of extra paint apps put on the front. And in terms of equipping it, it's just pretty much straight into the peg hole like so. And the reason why I'm doing this upside down is I can actually see where the peg hole is. And then that'll be Twitch equipped with main weapon, which actually looks pretty okay and pretty seamless. Well, until you look at the bottom, but that's cool. So we'll see the weapon again in the vehicle mode. Now, Twitch. Now, I know you actually failed this. I did try. You actually might end up doing it a little bit better. Okay, you actually are now passing it. So Twitch, you can stand. I will pretty much say with the caveat of you need to be a little bit patient and just try to work the weight distribution and those feet. But thankfully, you can actually stand on your own 2 feet without using anything else to help you stand up. So, front of Twitch, one of the 2 sides, the back, the other side, and I guess just a bit of a close-up of the head and the main torso. So, Twitch I think was one of a few of the Earth-based, I'm not sure if I can say Autobots, possibly. So, from a visual aesthetic and perspective, they do seem a bit different, which I think is cool. It adds a bit of variety. Now, in terms of colors, so you're pretty much a primary red with a nice sprinkling of what I can only imagine is probably a bit of a dark graphite, which also includes your blade housings as well. We do have some this, grayish, bluish grey for some extra colours. Bit of yellow. I do like how we've got these little blade bits in that translucent yellow, similar to the back of the head and the wings as well. So that's a nice recurring theme. And there is a little bit of sprinkling of extra color here and there as well. So overall, visually, does look quite nice. There is a little bit of kibbling, which I guess is to be expected for the type of alt mode that Twitch has. It doesn't seem too bad. It hasn't irritated me yet. And I've purely posed the blade mounts in this orientation, pretty much match a lot of the artwork and things like that. Another option would be to do it this way, but I initially would have preferred it that way, or maybe even this way, but I don't know. This bit actually is starting to warm up to me. I like how Twitch has a bit more movement with those blade wind bits, unlike Megatron, who would have been an even better figure if he could actually do proper VTOL in his alt mode. Anyway, so we've had a look at colors, we've had a look at Twitch from a few different angles, going through the articulation. So the head will do a full 360, has a very good amount of tilt up, has a little bit of tilt down, but either way, definitely some solid movement there. The arm, now I have noticed with my version of Twitch, the joints feel very stiff. I mean, looking at them, yeah, just be very mindful of that. Yours may not, but mine is actually starting to scare the living daylights out of me. The arm can definitely show signs of being able to do a 360, but I'm trying not to force it because I really don't want to have my very first breakage while doing a unboxing. So the arm potentially can go all around now. Because of the turbine, you might need to do that. So, okay, so I have managed to do a full 360. and it doesn't look like I've overstressed the joint, so that's always a good thing. So I can do full 360. The arm can go out to the side like so. There is 360 rotation up at the bicep, tricep, upper arm area. Standard elbow band, and that's pretty much it for the arm. So in terms of articulation, arm is pretty standard. Granted, to get some of that extra movement, you do need to move some of these things around. In fact, I've noticed all of the joints seem really textured. Interesting. Anyway, that was the arms. In terms of the waist, yes, there will be a nice 360-degree spin at the waist there, so that's always a nice thing to have articulation-wise. I'm just going to move the arms up this way. And in terms of the legs, so not quite a full split, but pretty close. If you were to do the full split, I can probably guarantee it now, you'll probably pop a leg off. Leg can move all the way to the front. Just fold these inward. Leg can go all the way to the back as well, assuming there's nothing in the way. The leg can do pretty much 360 rotation up here within the upper leg, which you won't need to do a full 360, but having that nice little rotation there really does help, especially with a little bit of a rotation as well at the hip. In terms of the knee bend, if I move the leg out, how far will the leg go? A bit more than 90 degree, which is good. So you've got a nice little knee bend there. It can also only do the downward knee, can't go further up, unfortunately, or fortunately, either. And as for the feet, there will be some side to side. In fact, I'm just going to pull this out. So the actual foot is on a ball socket. So there will be some side to side, front and back. And depending how extreme you pull out the little socket area, you can get a bit more range of motion with the foot. So I'm actually quite liking how the foot is on a ball socket, which is good, especially given some of the weight distribution and stuff like that for Twitch. You might actually appreciate having some of those ball sockets there to try and get around some of the, as I said, the weight distribution to actually properly stand Twitch, who suddenly I cannot stand up. Now I will mention, and this is for mine, it may not happen to yours, my Twitch seems to have, there we go, the joints for the hips actually feel a little bit loose, which is interesting because I said the ball socket area for the arms were really tight. Interesting how things happen. So that's pretty much a full rundown of the articulation for Twitch. The only thing I didn't really mention was we do have some of these ball sockets here for these little wing bit type things. Same with the bits up here as well. So definitely very cool. I don't know how practical it is to have that in the robot mode, being able to do that, but it is there. Okay, so articulation we've had a good little play around with. So from a figure perspective, a deluxe figure at that, everything's pretty much within the standard category. It's just that this particular figure of Twitch has just been a little bit more twitchy because there's been a lot of tightness in some of the joints that did concern me a little bit. But otherwise, I think there's a lot of general articulation options there, which is always good to see. Now, robot mode done. Time to transform Twitch into the alt mode. Have a quick look at that. Have a quick chat about the transformation steps, and then have a bit of a final review of Twitch. Okay, and with Twitch now transformed, so start off with the top view, the bottom view, which it's not terrible, but does look a little bit clunky. From the front, the side, the back, the other side, and a bit of a side angle. So I would wager that Twitch as an alt mode is some type of reconnaissance type drone. Although I also look at Twitch's colours and also get this weird little flashback to Windblade. But anyway, especially with these bits as well. Although Windblade was very much a very discernible jet, Twitch not as much. More drone than jet, but that's the vibe I get. Colours wise, I won't spend too much time about it because colours don't magically change during the transformation process. If anything, some of the yellow, well, this translucent yellow, we don't see as much now because it's been tucked away a little bit more, but the red is still quite prominent, as to be expected. We do still have some of that graphite coming through, which is also very good to help break up some of that colours. But overall, from a colours perspective, it still doesn't look too bad at all. In terms of articulation, now we actually will get, thanks to these ball sockets, these little turbines will do 360s there, as we saw in the robot mode, which is good because you can now do all sorts of things with them. So you can obviously lift them upwards to be a bit more tilted. You can lay them perfectly straight down. You can do a weird forward motion with them. That's kind of cool. This is the type of articulation I wish Megatron actually had, because I think that would have made him a very, very cool figure for his alt mode, especially if the turbines that he has could have done a bit more of that VTOL type look. Now, for those with a very good eye, will notice that the weapon has been attached to the base of the alt mode. A little bit tacky with how it's attached. It's just basically this little red bit here will tab into this little section underneath. Now, it's not terribly loose or anything, but actually, bear with me 1 second. I've just realized there's a lot of hidden tabbing with Twitch. Okay. Okay, that might have made things a little bit cleaner. Okay, that's interesting. So Twitch actually has an awful lot of tabbing that isn't necessarily apparent in the manual. So from a alt mode, definitely not too bad. It's a very unique look about it. I haven't actually decided at this point in time if I would keep Twitch in the alt mode or the robot mode. Time will probably tell as the collection builds up. Now, it's a bit of a segue. So the transformation definitely wasn't too bad. Yes, it's definitely on the intuitive side. It did go through things quite nicely, and as just discovered, there's actually a lot more tabbing than I give Twitch credit for. So I was a little bit dubious to begin with that everything was just going to randomly hover around and things like that, but that is definitely not the case. So in terms of tabbing, there's a bit of tabbing of the upper arms into a little section in the middle. The lower parts of the arms have some tabbing back to the legs, and the feet actually seem to have 2 points of tabbing. One is at the side of the feet to go into just the underside of where the turbine mount is, and the feet also tab into the side of the body as well. So from a tabbing perspective, it's definitely not too bad. Twitch does stay together quite nicely. There's also another bit of tabbing here for the little, whatever this yellow-orange bit is to tab into the back of the waist. So overall, definitely not too bad on tabbing, and Twitch actually can use those makeshift landing gears or whatever they are to actually stay upright as well. So that's also very cool. So transformation, definitely not too bad. So I think overall the alt mode, it's very unique and different, which is very cool. Definitely wasn't too difficult to get into. The tabbing is nice. Does feel a little bit less sturdy than Megatron, but at the same time I can still do this and it's not magically untransforming and doing all sorts of things, so that is always a good thing. Okay, let's bring everything back together, including the bits of Meridian. Okay, so final thoughts for Terran Twitch. Robot mode, definitely not too bad. Articulation seems to be pretty much your standard array of articulation. The weapon does slide into the hand very nicely, so from a playability perspective, definitely quite nice. Visually, definitely not too bad looking either. And I think one of the big winning things for me was definitely some of the articulation within the feet, thanks to the ball socket there. Now that in itself is also the interesting thing. Twitch has a bit of a lighter frame and a bit of back weight, so posing Twitch upright without the use of anything else will probably take a little bit of patience, as I've found out a few times already. I have no doubt doing the short will probably drive me insane. Time will tell on that one. So that's probably my only criticism about the robot mode, just trying to find that perfect point where weight distribution is okay and the feet will actually keep the body upright. Now, because of the upper hip, the knee bend and stuff like that, you can probably mitigate some of that just by doing some more proper dynamic poses as opposed to standing vertically upright. Transformation definitely wasn't too bad. It was intuitive, it was quite nice, the tabbing is very nice, and I don't really have any complaints from the transformation perspective. It was definitely quite nice. I think I prefer Megatron better, but Twitch definitely wasn't too bad. I think my only criticism would be as you tab things and put things together, you may unintentionally, the legs will be a good culprit, detab something while trying to tab something else. Alt mode, a very distinct look in terms of the alt mode. It's obviously not a pure Cybertronian or pure contemporary Earth mode vehicle. As I said, I do feel like it's a bit of an oversized drone look, but it's definitely not too bad. Distinct, it's workable, and it does stay together quite nicely in the transformed state, so overall definitely not too bad. The included Build-A-Figure stuff is definitely nice to see. Won't know how it all turns out until I've got all the components to do Dr. Meridian. So would I recommend Terran Twitch as a figure? Given Earthspark will probably have a very small toy line, and I already will probably be only looking at the Warriors and the Deluxes, I would say from a Deluxe figure perspective, Twitch actually isn't that bad a pickup. Playability is nice, nothing seems to be overly insanity inducing. Both modes look quite nice, so I would actually say if you see a Twitch and don't mind having one, definitely grab one. There are definitely a few other figures out there that are actually worse, that have actually struggled to not flat out say don't pick it up, but it came very close. I think mainline Deluxe Rise of the Beast Bumblebee has probably been the closest to where I've said don't bother. Close though, not actually full out, but Twitch is actually quite nice. It'd be interesting to see what the other Terran Autobot is. I wish I knew their name. In fact, it's on the back of the box. I lie, it is not. Obviously, this is why you should watch Earthspark, because you would know these things. But yeah, I'm sure the two will make a nice little pairing if the other one ever gets a figure. Maybe he gets a warrior class. Anyway, doesn't matter. Twitch, definitely not a bad pickup. There's nothing to strongly fault about the figure. So yeah, if you do see one, and even if you see one on special, grab it. I will leave the unboxing and review of Terran Twitch there. It's actually gone a little bit longer than I was expecting, which is okay. There were a few little oddities that happened throughout the video, which probably added a few extra seconds of time. Thank you very much for watching this unboxing and review video. Feel free to leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. All of this does help support the channel, and I do greatly appreciate it. Extra content can also be found on my Instagram account. Link is in the description below. It's also the same handle as the YouTube channel itself. As I alluded to, there will be a short of Twitch to complement this video as well. With that being said, stay safe and take care, and I will catch you all in a future video, which potentially will be the Bumblebee unboxing and review, or if not that, something else on the channel. Until the next time, see ya.